Hi there, I'm going to be making a video response to Avalon Moon's video about blood and the use of blood in magic. And I hope it's okay. I'm just going to share some of my opinion on the use of blood in magic and how I personally feel about it. And my thing about it is, I understand the point that blood can in many ways be a powerful tool for people to use. And I really think that it depends on the maturity of the person using it, using blood, and I think it just depends on how the individual feels about it. But I would personally never do it, and I understand why a lot of people would be completely uncomfortable with it. And I think the people who write about it should be very careful. And I think it was good that the person mentioned that cutting yourself and whatnot is a very bad thing. And for anyone who has that sort of a history or that sort of a tendency, I would not recommend it to them. Simply because of the fact that it could lead them to act more upon this unhealthy habit. Just like I would not recommend to an alcoholic um, partaking of any sort of alcohol in a circle, simply because of that being present. But that being said, I think that blood's usage is something that is up to the individual to decide whether they're comfortable with it or if they're not. But I personally am completely uncomfortable with it. Also, the question is, how good is your pain tolerance? Does it hurt a lot for you to cut yourself? I don't really think that physical pain, I don't believe in including it in a ritual. Simply because I think that the idea of intentionally causing yourself physical pain is not really part of a path of light. And what I mean by a path of light is a path based on trying to reach a positive end. Yes, I understand that that could involve dark magic, the way that you describe it, Avalon Moon. Even though I don't entirely know whether or not you would consider black magic to be part of that, meaning spells to hurt, to cause any harm to others. But you describe yourself. Well, I'm not sure how you feel about that, and I'd actually like to hear, but that's not the topic of this particular video or video response or whatnot. Um, but on the topic again of blood and pain, I don't really think that physical pain is something that necessarily helps uplift, or at least not in a healthy way. And so I really don't think that that sort of euphoria, even if it is for euphoria, again, that's unhealthy and whatnot, and it's really not, I think, good for you. But if you're able to do it without causing yourself at least too much pain, and you're able to keep it in check, I really don't have an issue with people doing it. I would not recommend it for someone who is a teenager or someone um, who is not yet able to handle it, and I wouldn't say that it would be a good starter thing. I think when you're experienced and um, and I'm not going to say an age, but when you feel like you're experienced and mature enough to where you can use it in a way where it's not going to be detrimental to you. That's the only time I think that it can be appropriate. Um, but I can't say, it's sort of one of those things that if you're someone who's very close to me, I would be very worried, like a girlfriend or whatnot. I would be worried about it simply because of, well, for one, it's just my protective nature. Not, I'm a dragon, so of course I'm gonna have that protective nature within me. But but yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Um, I just don't agree with pain ritual. And just another thought on the whole blood thing is why blood of all body fluids? I mean, if you want to use a part of yourself, why don't you just like spit on your athame? Consecrated. Hell yeah. Or maybe I'll just hack a loogie onto something. I don't know. Consecrated. That looks really wrong, doesn't it? Um, you know, and I think there are a lot of quote-unquote unhealthy things, such as, really partaking in a lot of, um, I think there are a lot of things that aren't necessarily healthy that people might do. Personally, I don't drink at all. Um, and I've yet to decide if I would ever be able to somewhat let that go in terms of, like, if I were to go to a bloat where it had it. But the only time that I went to a bloat that it had it, it wasn't the sort of situation where I could have it. I mean, I was actually under 18 even at the time. I'm 18 now, but I mean, even still, like, it's technically illegal for me. But sorry, just someone's trying to talk to me or whatnot, and I can't do that right now. But you know, let's take for the example the whole idea of using alcohol in ritual. I really wouldn't recommend it to alcoholics, and it's something that you should be very careful about. Does that mean that it's 100% wrong for someone to use it in ritual, or even altogether? Um, Not necessarily. Again, I choose not to drink, but that's just my choice. I would never try to push it on anybody, but I do plan on sticking with it even when I'm 21. But then again, if you are getting drunk within a ritual and you're really not even all there, um, probably either you're doing something wrong in the ritual or you're at a bloat. So yeah, just saying. If you're off your ass tipsy, that's just, I guess, how it is. Or if you're even drunk. Um, but I think that what people do in their own practice is their own choice. But I really don't think that it should necessarily be promoted without a very careful look at it. But I think there's a lot of things in magic that you got to be careful about. But blood magic, I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's necessarily evil. But I just think there are so many other choices and other options that you could do. And again, the idea of blood magic would just work just as well if I took a dump, and I know that's gross, but took a dump and put that on my ritual tools. Hey, it's an essence of me, and I mean, it is waste, but when blood comes out, isn't that kind of a form of waste too, in a way, when it's coming out of the body? Because my body doesn't. I mean, it's not waste because I don't normally bleed naturally, but unless I get a cut. But I'm just, I'm just saying. Um, it just seems to me like it's not horribly wrong, but it's kind of dangerous, and it's unnecessary in my opinion. There are so many other things you can do, but I know that there might be groups that have a symbolic, blood sort of thing that is involved in their ritual or their tradition and whatnot. And as long as they're being very safe and smart about it and not causing too much pain by it, depending on, of course, someone's individual threshold and whatnot, then I mean, I really don't see a huge problem with it, at least to the point of, like, fighting it. I figure, unless someone's being forced to do it. Now, someone else's blood, um, against their will, especially, I would highly dissent with that and think that that would be really going into not just dark magic, but black magic. And I kind of see a huge difference between dark and black magic. I see black magic as being negative, dark as simply being dark. Um, but black is more in terms of the intention. Dark is more in terms of the energy you work with. In my own lingo, at least. But yeah, I wouldn't suggest blood magic. But if you want to do it, just please be careful. To anyone who's going to do that, just please be careful and make sure that you don't, get involved in, like, hurting yourself and whatnot. You really shouldn't. I would say, even if you do use it sparingly and use it safely. Make sure you're being safe about it. So, Spike with the Pagan Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and blessed be everybody.